It is a word you are going to hear all the time in the music industry. One of the most important life skills for being a full-time musician is... So what do you do once you have these connections? What is going on? Welcome to the complete beginner's guide on how to make money as a music producer in late 2022. We're just getting into 2023. A lot more people are learning how to produce. A lot more people are wanting to make money off producing. And I'm about to drop some real gems for you on how you can be full-time with music in 2022 and 2023. So a little bit about myself. My name is Stafford Beats. I've been producing music for about 3 years, and I've been full-time for maybe a year and a half now. I used to be in the military. I was in the Air Force, working at a psych ward in Alaska, doing anywhere from 12 to 16-hour shifts, trying to fit music in between it. And let me tell you, it gets a lot easier once you're full-time. To start out making money with music, you first gotta have some platforms that you're on. So if you're just starting out, I would make sure you have 3 key platforms. That's gonna be Instagram, TikTok, and BeatStars. The reason you wanna have these 3 is because Instagram is gonna work like a platform to showcase your work, to show people what you've done, to connect with people, that type of thing. TikTok, on the other hand, is gonna be about growth. It's gonna be one of your biggest tools for actually gaining an audience, because it's really hard to do that on some other platforms like Instagram. And then the third one is BeatStars. BeatStars is where you're gonna sell your beats, sample packs, stuff like that on for now. You can make your own website, but it's a whole lot easier to start out using BeatStars until you figure out all the specifics that you wanna do and incorporate that into your website. So the first thing I want you to do is make sure that you have all 3 of those platforms. You've got the same username on all of them, or at least very similar if you can't get the exact one. And then the same profile picture on all 3 of those as well. After you've got all those set up, you want to start working on your brand and your image. Before you ever start reaching out to people or trying to make sales or anything like that, you want to make sure that your profiles look good. So what I mean by this is, don't have your high school Instagram be the same Instagram that you use from your music. Separate them, make them 2 completely different things, and have all your content be focused around music. It's really important to focus on the aesthetic of your Instagram page, because that's where people are going to get their first impression of you. If you reach out to somebody and you've got a good looking page, it's way more likely that they're going to want to respond to you and probably work with you. So you don't have to do anything crazy like having a bunch of tiles that make up one big picture on Instagram or like anything weird like that. But just make sure overall the content is clearly about music, it's clean, it's easy on the eye, and make sure to also have pictures of you on there. There's a lot of producers who have asked me like, oh, is there any way that I can get out there more without showing my face, or can I just use my logo? Stop hiding behind your logo. Just put your face out there. People want to know what you look like. People want to know what you have to say. And it's a lot easier to connect with somebody if you're actually able to see what they look like, because that's just part of human nature. So keep that in mind. But anyways, there's plenty of places that you can go to look on how to make your brand look more appealing, or how to get a good logo, or take good pictures of yourself, stuff like that. So I'm not going to cover all of that. I just wanted to make sure that you know that you have to have a good looking page for people to interact the most. So let's start getting into some real sauce. Networking. Networking, networking, networking. It is a word you are going to hear all the time in the music industry. And a lot of other industries, honestly, too. By definition, networking is very simple. It's just talking to people and getting to know people. That's it. So how can you network as a producer? My #1 rule for networking is message at least 5 new people every single day. This means Instagram DMs, Twitter DMs, TikTok, however you want to reach out to people. Just make sure you're reaching out to at least 5 people every single day. If you keep doing that, you're going to know a lot of people by the end of a month, even more so a year. One of the places that helped me network the best when I was just starting out is Discord. And that's actually why I run my own server now, so I'll put that in the description if you want to join that and talk to other people. There's a lot of other people in there and other servers who are always willing to talk, collab, and just work on stuff. A lot of people ask when it comes to networking, how do I find people? How do I, just go on Instagram and find new people to talk to? Or how do I go on TikTok and find new people to talk to? I'm going to put it to you extremely simply. People are everywhere, and everybody has at least one connect that you don't, and everybody knows at least one thing that you don't. So that means use your mutual connects. Even if I'm the only producer that you know, you can go to my Instagram page and see people that I shout out, see people that I tag and post. Same goes for anybody that you already know. See what they're putting on their story, see who's commenting on their post, and just reach out to those people. It's so easy to hit somebody up with a mutual connect, because most of the time you can just be like, yo, I know this guy, I would love to collab. Or, you know, I've worked with this guy a bunch in the past. You've got a similar style, I would love to work with you. Let me send some loops, let me get some loops, whatever. A lot of people are willing to work if you just reach out and be cool. I see all these producers that are scared to message like big producers or like, you know, people with 10,000 followers, whatever. It is so easy to get a response from more people than you think. So reach out anyways, because 100 no's could lead to one yes that changes your life. So like I said, make sure you're messaging at least 5 new people every single day. I tell everybody that, and everybody who follows it sees so much success from it, because you're just connecting with more people, and that's what it's all about. So what do you do once you have these connections? Well, you want to make sure that you maintain them. You want to make sure that the people you're talking to stay involved in what you're doing. So how do you do that? Email marketing. Every time I message somebody that I want to work with, I make sure to get their email if I can, and I put it on a list. I have a ton of lists on my Google Docs full of people that I want to work with in different categories. For producers, I've got a list of people that use dark samples. I've got a list of people who use hyperpop samples. I just make one for every different category. That way I can send everybody specific things that they want. Now, you don't have to be this complex with it when you're first starting out, especially if you make a lot of different types of loops, for example. So what I would do is make one email list for now, get everybody's email that you can. Don't buy email lists, because if somebody doesn't actually know you and you send them a random email, they're not going to want to respond, or they're going to block you. So just avoid buying email lists. But hit up a bunch of people, start building up a list, and either send out emails manually or use a service like Aweber or MailChimp, which both have free versions, and use one of those services to send out your emails either weekly or twice a week or even daily. And you want to do this for artists and producers. Obviously, don't put artists and producers on the same list. If you're going to keep it basic and only have like one list at a time, at least separate artists and producers, because artists don't want your loops and producers don't want your beats. Now, there's 2 different ways to send out these emails. If you're doing it manually and you copy paste your list into a Gmail, make sure that first of all, everybody that you're sending to is on the BCC and not just the 2 box. And if you don't know what that means, just look it up. It's really easy. But basically it hides the emails from the other people, so not everybody will see each other's emails. But if you're sending like that, send MP3 files, because you can just attach those straight onto your emails. You can actually click on MP3 files before you open the emails. So this is really enticing for people who have to go through a lot of different loops every day. But if you're using something like Aweber or MailChimp, then just use Dropbox. Dropbox is so much better than Google Drive for producers, mainly because you have to request access for the Google Drive links sometimes, and people don't know how to do that the right way. Sometimes you forget, whatever. It's way easier just to use Dropbox. They have a free plan, but I would say it's super worth it just to get, even if it's just a basic plan, get a little bit of extra storage. It goes a long way. The next thing you want to do is make sure that you're actually staying on top of your sample game. Right now, the industry is very sample driven. People who can make good loops are going to get so much further than people who can just make good beats. It's okay if you prefer just making beats, but if you're interested in making samples, it's a way better route in my opinion. You can get up a lot faster with a sample than you can with a beat. If you're going to be a sample maker, you need to have Dropbox, because it's going to make your life so much easier when it comes to organizing all your samples and being able to send them out. And the biggest thing, honestly, when you make samples is just get them everywhere that you can. Put them in your Discord servers, send them out on email, DM them on Instagram with Dropbox links. However you got to do it, make sure everybody that you can is getting your loops. Now, when you send out these loops, you want to make sure that you're sending them for free to these people. Don't charge to get on your weekly list. Don't charge for loop packs or anything like that right now. Just focus on doing collab sales on BeatStars. That's the #1 way to make money with samples. So for every sample that somebody uses, they should be giving you 50% of whatever they make. Search up a bunch of people on YouTube, BeatStars, whatever, that are selling a lot of beats and try to get their emails so you can send them samples, because those are the heavy hitters right now. And that's how you're going to make the most amount of money. But like I said, just make the samples really easy to access for anybody who needs them, because you never know when that one collab is going to change your life. Now, another great way to put your samples out there, again, is Discord. So in my Discord server, I actually have a section for every category of loop. So you can send them in any category, and then somebody else who is looking to use a loop can just go by category, find your loop, download it, and make a beat right there. So make sure you get on that. Moving on from samples, another great way to make money in music is YouTube beats. Now, a lot of people do this, and it's very saturated, so it's hard to actually scale up right now. But honestly, you should have a YouTube channel anyways, because one of your beats could blow up and it could either make you a lot of money, get you a placement, or get your foot in the door with some big industry people. When it comes to YouTube, I could do a whole video breaking down all the sauce that I've learned in the last 3 years doing it, which I might do in another video. Let me know down below in the comments if you want me to do that. But for now, we're going to keep it simple and to the point. First most important rule with YouTube is that you're posting consistently. It doesn't really matter what your timing is. So like if you want to do every 2 days, every 4 days, every week, whatever, I would say don't do any more than one every other day, and don't do any less than once a week. But as long as you're consistent with whatever you're doing, that's going to lead to the most growth. Along with being consistent with your timing, you want to be consistent with the types of beats that you do. So you want to make sure you're just posting one type of beat, or like one category of beats. If it's dark trap beats, or if it's R&B beats, whatever, just stay consistent to that. The fastest way you're going to grow with this is by naming the beats the right way. If you make a dark beat, maybe don't call it a Lil Baby type beat, because there's thousands and thousands of beats every day that are called Lil Baby type beat on YouTube, and you're never going to rank on that right away. So what you want to do is you want to find an artist who uses Lil Baby type beats, but they're maybe a little bit smaller, or they're blowing up right now, or they're just not quite as big, because then you're going to rank on those, and people are going to know you for those type of beats. And then eventually, once your channel gets bigger, you'll have a chance to rank on those Lil Baby type beats, whatever. Something that I wish I knew when I was first starting out YouTube is that you always want to post your best beats. Oftentimes when I was starting out, I would post my okay beats, and I would keep my best beats in the vault, because I was thinking, oh, I could get a placement with this, I could blah blah blah, whatever. But that actually ended up hurting me in the long run, because for the first year of me putting beats on YouTube, I was only posting my okay beats, so people thought I was just an okay producer. But really, I had some crazy beats that I just wasn't posting. And after talking to people who have anywhere from 60 to 100,000 subscribers on YouTube on their type beat channels, they all say the same thing. Always post your best beats every single time. That's all we're really going to cover for YouTube. Like I said, I can do another video later on that's going to be more in depth. Other than that, just make sure your beats are on BeatStars before they're on YouTube, so that way you can always have it linked. And then also use something like TubeBuddy or vidIQ to track your tags. Personally, I use TubeBuddy. But like I said, in another video, I'll go more in depth about how YouTube works and the sauce that I know. But for now, that's what we're going to keep it at to get you started. One of the most important life skills for being a full-time musician is managing your money. Now, this is something not a lot of people talk about, but it's really, really important. You want to be careful with how you spend your money, and you want to save as much as possible, because being a full-time creative is not easy. So this means not spending excessive money. You're not going out to eat every day. Don't blow all the money you make from your beats on clothes or shoes or whatever. Set that money aside and only use it for things that you absolutely need, especially if you're not relying on music to be your full-time income. Save all the extra money that you get from it. I promise, even though it's hard, it'll be super worth it when it comes time. Now, if you do want to reinvest some of that money, there's some really great ways to do that. First way that I always recommend is make sure that you have good equipment. It doesn't need to be top of the line, crazy expensive equipment. Just make sure that you've got something that's up to date and is not going to give you any issues while you're running a normal beat. Other than that, I always recommend setting aside some money for kits, plugins, and other things that are going to help develop your sound. Sometimes inspiration strikes a little bit harder when you get a new drum kit, a new plugin, whatever, but don't go too crazy with it. And the last thing that I would spend money on once you're ready is opportunities. This is a tricky one because there's a lot of people out there scamming and saying, oh, we got these placement opportunities, blah, blah, blah. If somebody says they've got a placement opportunity and they're charging for it, probably stay away. But if somebody's saying they do paid collabs and they're not promising any results or anything like that, a lot of times those are going to be the ones that you go for. Personally, I've paid a few producers for collabs, but it's for a different reason that you might think. I'm not paying for the collab to try to get a placement. I'm not doing it to try to make a bunch of money or whatever. I'm just paying for it to get in the door with that producer. So there's been a couple producers in the past where I'm like, I really want to work with these guys, but I didn't really have a way to do it. And I didn't really have enough reach to actually get to them on Instagram or anything like that. So I bought a paid collab or a consultation or something similar, and when they saw that my sound was fire because I did it when I was ready and I knew I had the beats for it, then they stayed tapped in with me, and now we work all the time. So the last thing I want to touch on for now on making money as a producer is standing out. Standing out is going to be the #1 thing that makes you money as a producer, because there are so many people trying to make beats right now. There are so many people trying to make samples. It's a big industry, but one of the most important things to know is that you're going to sell way more beats based off your name and your brand than you are the quality of your beats. There are a lot of people who can make a really good beat right now, but there's not a lot of people who have a really great brand, and that's the difference between a producer who succeeds and a producer who fails. I could make the same exact beat as Q Beats right now, and he would make so much more money off of it even if we had the same audience, because more people know him and he's got a bigger name. So with that in mind, you want to make sure that you're doing everything you can to stand out as a producer. Make unique beats, have unique branding. Don't follow producer rules all the time. There's a lot of commonalities between different types of beats. There's a lot of, the whole simple but fire thing with beats. That's great, and you should learn those simple things, but also try your own complex stuff. Try doing weird shit that nobody else is doing, because that's going to make the difference for you. And when you do that and you build your brand and you've got a professional image and you're reaching out to people and you're getting new messages from people because you're reaching out to a lot of people and you're getting their emails and you're sending them out and you're being consistent, you will succeed as a music producer. So make sure that you're doing all of these things. Take it slow at first. Watch this video again if you need to and just do everything part by part. But make sure you incorporate all of these elements that we talked about into your production career, and I guarantee that you will be successful. Again, make sure you join my Discord, because there's a ton of people in there who are ready to work all the time. People are sending loops all the time, getting collabs done, and it's a really great place to network. I'm also doing a deal for any new producer who wants to get some drum kits. Hit me up on Instagram, and if you've never bought a drum kit before or you've never bought a drum kit from me before, I'll give you 50% off any drum kit that you want from my site. Other than that, keep producing, keep being great, keep working hard, stay consistent, and don't give up.